have 4 small habits that allowed me to save up to 25 hours per week. Even though I have a very busy life with my business and my team, I was able to save a lot of time by doing those 4 things. The first one is what I call the Kaizen methodology, also called baby steps, and I also call it the tip of the iceberg. Basically, the idea is any big project, any big thing you have to do should be divided into small steps. And you can do that in a tool like Asana very easily. You can have a project and different tasks to break down something that is quite big. The idea is to make baby steps towards that very big goal, even though it's very frightening sometimes to do something big. For example, write a book. Writing a book is basically writing 1 chapter at a time. So you can have a task that says write chapter 1, write chapter 2, write chapter 3, and then you do them one by one. So baby steps all the way towards your goal. What I call the tip of the iceberg is the fact that you only need to see the next step. You only need to see the tip of the iceberg. There's no benefit from seeing the entire thing all the time. At first, initially, yes, you need to see everything, obviously, but then when you start working, just look at the tip. Just look at the next step. That means being assigned on everything, but only looking at the first step, the next step in your My Task view in Asana, for example. And as soon as you complete the first step, then make sure that the second step can come your way automatically, and then the third, etc., etc. And before you realize it, you will be pretty close to completing that entire project because you made baby steps. The second thing is using what I call parking project. It's also called backlog, depending on the methodology you use. You have ideas all the time. I have ideas all the time. There's lots of things to do depending on the project. For example, if you have a website, there's lots of things you can improve, but not everything should be done right away. And there's usually different dependencies, usually different priorities. The idea is to have a single project where you can store all of those ideas, where you can park things to do later. Because even though you are the developer in the team, for example, in the case of the website, it doesn't make any sense to have everything displayed in your to-do list. It's better to have a parking project for website work and then potentially block some time in your calendar to then go and do that work when you have time. So let's say you have an hour to work on the website, then you go to that project and then you do a couple of tasks. Let's take this video, for example. We want to make a lot of videos. We have dozens and dozens of ideas. They are not assigned to me. They sit in a project called videos to shoot. And then when I have a moment, like right now, I go to that project, pick one video I feel like doing, and then do that video right away. Next time I have a slot available, I can go to that project again and pick something again. That way I don't get overwhelmed completely, and I save time because I can really dedicate specific moments in my week to doing specific type of work. My third technique is actually to not do things, and it's a great way to save time. What's better than not doing something to be efficient? You have to learn when to quit. If something doesn't have a lot of value but also takes a lot of energy or time, you should actually never do it. Even delegating that thing doesn't make any sense. So make sure to know when to quit something. In a tool like Asana, you can cancel the task, for example. You can even delete the task. I usually do not delete anything because I like to keep track, and sometimes something that wasn't a good idea actually becomes a good idea again later down the road. But especially when you are overwhelmed and you don't have time, it's exactly when you need to quit things. You need to cut through the noise, you need to deprioritize, you need to delete things, you need to cancel things, and you need to pull the plug on some projects as well. If you look at people like Google, there are lots of things they pull the plug on, lots of projects they stop working on and they stop investing on because it doesn't make any sense, and they want to spend their time on things that do make sense. The last technique that I have, the last tactic that I have, is to delegate. And that's the biggest one. Very early on in our agency life, agency story, we actually hired an assistant, Julie, and she's amazing. We were able to delegate a lot of things to her. So as you grow, your team grows, and then you can delegate more things to people. But it's actually really hard to delegate because you have to be able to identify what to delegate and find the right way to delegate. When you send something to someone, it usually comes back to you for review. So you have to make sure that you put put the right processes in place to know exactly what to delegate, how to delegate, find the right way, and also communicate the why this is important. And this is something I do very often. I delegate something to someone and I explain to them why this is important to me, why this is important to the company, so that they can get the big picture and be motivated by knowing that what they do is actually very important. If you want to test Asana, I'm putting a link in the description of this video so that you can apply and get a free trial to test Asana. Also, make sure to check out my other video, which is 10 Asana tips on how to be productive with that tool. Let me know if you want any other topic covered in a video, and see you soon.